technologies as a build and release engineer. So before DevOps, actually we used to call DevOps into build and release. So I started my career with build and release. Then I started in Huawei Technologies. I worked there for 3 years. So after that, I joined in Eris Global. So that is they were into healthcare domain. So there I worked for 1.5 years, and after that I moved to UST Global. So they were into service-based company. UST Global, they were into service-based company, and there I worked for 3.5 years for like shipping and logistics domain and healthcare domain. So for many clients I worked over there. Then I moved to Capgemini. There I worked for banking clients and insurance clients. I worked there for approximately 2.5 years, and now very recently I joined into the Netcracker technology. So Netcracker technology is into telecom domain. So I joined in September month. So it's all about my professional experience. And coming to the skills and the process which I worked on so far is the tools which I worked on from version control system is like SVN and Git is from version control system, and Ant and Maven is for build tools, and Jenkins is from CI/CD part. And also from container management, I worked on Docker, and for infrastructure automation and deployment perspective, I worked on Ansible, and also a little bit exposure into Chef and Puppet as well. And then coming to scripting experience, which I worked on is from scripting like shell scripting and Groovy scripting, AML script, and also Python, a little bit exposure into Python. So this is the scripting experience which I worked on. And database experience also we need to have. I worked on MS SQL and MySQL, Oracle SQL, and little bit exposure into PostgreSQL. So this is the database experience which I worked on. So this is the skill set which I worked on, and yeah, it's all about my professional experience. So okay, so let's jump into the topic now. So I will share my screen. So let me know if everyone can able to see. You are able to see my screen, right? Can anyone answer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, it's visible now.
It's visible, sir.
Great. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I think this is the syllabus and curriculum which Srinivas sir shared on Sunday. So I think on day 1 he covered SDLC and SDLC models. Okay, and yeah, today we will touch agile methodology and introduction to the DevOps. Okay, and the third day it will be a OS systems and introduction to the Linux and overview on different flavors of Linux. These things we will cover. And on day 4th we can cover Linux file structure system and advanced Linux commands we can cover. And from day 5 to day 9 we can explain like what is the version control systems and different kinds of version control systems. Like we have SVN is there and we have Git is there. So mostly we will cover Git here. So we don't touch SVN here. And from day 10 to day 15, like it's a 6-day session, and we will cover all the build tools, like what are the build tools. So we will cover Apache Ant and Apache Maven here. Okay, and from day 16 to day 20, it's a 5-day session, and we will discuss here about continuous integration and continuous delivery. Okay, and a list of CI tools which we used in our day-to-day responsibilities. That is Jenkins we will cover here. We don't cover TeamCity here. And day 21 to day 23, it is again 3-day session, and we will cover its repository management, like so where we store all the final deliverables like WAR files, jar file, or ER files. So we will store in the in this repository management system. So here we will discuss Artifactory. Artifactory is the final deliverable repository management system. So that we will discuss. And then from day 24 to day 30, so in this 7-day session, we will discuss about the container management. So here we will discuss Docker, Kubernetes, both we will discuss. Then from 31 to 37, it's for 7-day session. Again, here we will discuss configuration management tools, and also This is also called as infrastructure automation tools. So here it is, we will cover Ansible, only Ansible we will cover, and if required we will also cover Chef. And day 38 to 40 for 2 days, it's a infrastructure monitoring. Like after we deploy the deploy WAR file or ER file into production systems, we need to monitor those production systems. So for monitoring those production systems, we will use Nagios, and also App Dynamics is also one more tool is there. So here we will cover Nagios, and at the end we will give so before you attending the interviews, if you required any this one mock interviews, those interviews, those kind of stuff we will share at the end of this course. This is all about our curriculum which we are going to be discussed. Okay, so today as planned, so we are in a day 2 session. So we will cover introduction to the DevOps and Agile. This font size is okay, right? Yeah. So it's a DevOps actually. So now, okay, before DevOps, we have the Agile actually. So Agile is a term which is derived from the word agility. So the meaning of agility is Agile. It's a fast moving. We can say it is a fast moving, or yeah, it's a fast paced moving actually. So where we can say it's a fast paced moving. Okay, so before agile methodology, so most of our software development and testing is used to follow the waterfall methodology. So there, like in the waterfall methodology, first we used to develop the source code, and after completion of development, then they used to push to the testing part. So that was like it's a outdated technology. So now outdated process. No one is using that process now, because see, after completion of development, so if they push that source code into the testing phase, so if testers, if they find any defects or any bugs or any performance issues, again they need to push back to the development team. So by that time, maybe development team, they might be working on different issues and different defects. So again, the development team come back to the module. So where the testers, they already performed the testing. So they need to come back. They need to come back to the previous module, and again they need to work on that particular fix or particular bug. So that is hectic actually. That is headache process to the development team, because so developers, they usually work on different modules, and once they complete one module, and they will move to the another module. So if they find any bugs or any issues in the previous module, so again if they need to work on the previous module, means it's a kind of a hectic process, and it's a kind of headache process to the development team. So in order to overcome those issues, so now most of the DevOps process are following the agile methodology. So the word itself, it is saying like it's a fast-paced moving. So it is derived from the agility. The word derived from the word agile is derived from the agility. So it is itself the word itself, it is saying it's a fast-paced moving. So here the same day development happens. Once the development happens, then immediately the source code will be pushed to the version control system, and it will be built. The source code will be built on the same day, and it will be deployed into the different different environments. Like we have many environments. We will discuss about the environments in next now. So the source code, the compiled code, it's like WAR file or JAR file or ER file will be pushed to the different environments on the same day, so that the testing can happen on the same day itself. So this is the advantage of following agile methodology. Hello. Yeah. Okay. Right. So this is the advantage of following agile methodology. So now how the DevOps is using the agile methodology, we will see. So the DevOps is a combination of two words. It is a combination of development plus operations. Okay, it's a combination of development and operations. Okay, under development, so okay, so under development, we can discuss like we can say this development covers both development and testing. So we can say so dev plus test. Okay, under operations we can see like it's a like maybe it's a infrastructure as well as infrastructure plus some DBA related activities. Okay, plus system admin activities, maybe sysadmin. We can say it's a sysadmin. Okay, so these activities we will cover under operations. So earlier, okay, so infrastructure team they used to be separate, and developers are they used to separate. So now because of this infrastructure team separate, they are handling the separate responsibilities, and the development team they are handling the separate responsibilities. So we used to get so many infrastructure related issues actually. So maybe some underlying software is missing, or version compatibility of those softwares are not matching. So these issues we used to get before DevOps, before we implement the DevOps process. But once the DevOps process came into picture, so this development team and operations team, they both are working together. They both are working together, and they know each other actually, how the development is going on, and what is the testing, how the testing is going on, and whatever the infrastructure which they are working, and the DBA team with whom they are working, and the system admins with whom they are working. So all these things they have the transparency. They have the transparency between these two teams, these development teams and operations. So this DevOps, as I said, this DevOps, it came from the word development. So the first dev, and then operations, OPS, operations. So we are working parallelly actually. So we are collaboratively. We are working, both the development team and operations team. We are working collaboratively. So this DevOps term came from the development plus operations. Okay. So as I said, like in the development means it's both development and testing, and operations means here the infrastructure creation, and sometimes the DBA, not sometimes, it's always the DBA team will be there, and the system admins will be there in the operations team. Okay. So in the DevOps, we have, as we said, like we have the different kinds of tools we need to use in the DevOps to enhance the DevOps process. So the tools which we used here is
Sir, we are not getting your voice, sir.
Hello.
Hello,
Sir, we
sir.
are not. Hello,
Sir,
sir.
we are not visible your voice.
Sir, I think you have muted.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay,
Clear now.
sorry, actually maybe it was mute. Okay, fine, no problem. So the tools which we are using in DevOps process, like mostly we use version control, and then we use build tools, and we use CI/CD tools, and then for some of the projects we also use container management. For container management also we need to use Docker and Ansible, and for infrastructure automation. Infrastructure automation also we need to use infrastructure automation. Okay, and then finally for this one AWS is also it's a platform, so where we will create all these things actually, and then finally it's a monitoring tools. Monitoring tools also we need to use under DevOps actually. Okay, so before we discuss about these tools actually, so first we will know what is development, what is a dev environment, and then what is SIT environment. Okay, and then what is UAT environment. Then we have one more environment called a regression environment, and then we have the final one is the pre-prod environment. Then the live environment is the production environment. Okay, so these are the different environments. Okay, so as I said, like this DevOps is it's a combination of both development and operations. So we need to create the infrastructure as well here. So because already the word infrastructure itself, it is there here in this word. So the infrastructure is nothing but, so here we can say it's a environment. So we have different environments used in this process. That is the dev environment, SIT environment, UAT environment, regression environment, pre-prod, and then production environment. So here the SIT means it is system integration testing. It's a system integration testing. Then UAT means it's a user acceptance test. Okay. Then regression means it's a kind of before moving to production, before moving to pre-prod. So it means production, before moving to production. Okay, this production environment, it's a live environment. We can say it's a live. We can say go live. Go live environment. Okay. So in the dev environment, it's like it's purely for development team. Purely for development team. Okay. So we need to create all these environments. Okay. So first we need to create the infrastructure for the development team, and infrastructure for the SIT team, infrastructure for UAT, regression, pre-prod, and production. So first we need to create the infrastructure. Okay. On top of the infrastructure, we need to install all the tools required for particular development, testing. Okay, UAT testing, regression testing, pre-prod, production, for every whatever the tools they required, and whatever the underlying softwares they required. So we need to handle all these things, because we are collaboratively working. So now we are not independent teams. So we are part of development, and we are part of the operations. So as part of operations, we need to create the infrastructure. And once those infrastructures are like this, actually, that infrastructure in infrastructure itself, we have the environments. So we have dev environment, SIT environment, UAT environment, regression environment, pre-prod, and then production. Okay, who will use dev environment? So dev environment is used for only development team. So as I said, like purely for dev team. So who use SIT environment? SIT environment, as the word itself, it is system integration testing. So mostly the testers will use the SIT environment. And the UAT environment will be used again. It's a kind of testing only. It's a user acceptance test, means it's a kind of testing. So which is called, it's a UAT. Then regression. Regression means before we move the package into the pre-prod. So this regression test will happen. So that also it's a kind of testing. So those are the testing team only will use the regression environment. Pre-prod mostly we own the, as a DevOps engineer, we own the pre-prod environment, and we own the production environment. So we only use this pre-prod and production environments. So we need to move the package into all these environments. So package means I will tell what is package. Package means all the development team they used to see we have like different source code, different kinds of source code is there. So we have Java source code, and we have C# source code, and we have HTML is there, and we have CSS is there, and we have PHP is there. So different kinds of development team they develop the source code. So usually they commit the source code like in terms of .java, or in terms of .c, or in terms of .php. So like this they used to develop, and they commit the code into the version control systems. So as a DevOps engineer, what we need to do? So we need to create the package. So once they push the source code into the version control system, so we need to create the package. So create the package means there all the build related activities will happen. So build related activities. So package means build related activities. We can say it's a build related activities. So what is build related activities? See, normally the developers they push the code with .java. So what we need to do? So we need to convert .java. Like this we can say convert .java code or .java code into .class file. First we need to convert .java code into .class file, and then further again we need to convert .class into .class into .jar or .var or .er. I will tell what is .jar or .var or .er. See, first if you say, once the developer is committed the code into version control systems, and if you say Java C abc.java, then it will compile that particular Java file, and it will convert that particular Java file into .class file. Okay, so again if we compress the .class file, so it will create .jar file or .var file or .er file. So as per the project requirement, sometimes we create the jar file, or sometimes we create the var file, and sometimes we create the er file. So I will tell what is a .jar. Jar means it's a Java archive. Okay, and var means web archive. Okay, and then .er means enterprise archive. Enterprise archive. Okay, so in the Java archive, like it's a further compression of .class file. Again, for example, if you compress the .class file, then it will create the .jar file. So which means like for example, if you open the .jar file, there you can see n number of .class files. I think you understood what is a .jar. So it's a compression, further compression of .class file. Okay, and in the var file, so for example, if you see the var file, if you open that war file and if you see, you can see n number of .jar files. So because the number of .jar files, it will convert to the .war file. And ER file means it's a combination of war files. So what I mean to say is, okay, as per the project requirement, either we create the jar file or war file or ER file. So that is purely depending upon the project. So sometimes I created jar files for some of the project, and I created a war file for the same project, and I created a war file ER file for the same project. But it's not necessarily to create all the jar war ER for this for in one project. Maybe we have different scenarios we will come. Okay, so first if you compress the dot class file, it will create the jar, and further if you compress again, it will create the dot var, and again if you further compress, it will create the dot er file. Okay, so once we create the package, so what we need to do? So once we create package, so we need to deploy. So we need to deploy package into multiple environments. Okay, so here we already discussed what is those multiple environments. Those multiple environments are these dev environment, okay, SIT environment, UAT environment, regression environment, pre-prod, and then production. So we need to deploy this jar file, war file, or ER file into multiple environments. So see, for example, let's say in the very first step, so the development team they commit the source code. They commit the source code into the version control systems, and so the version control system it will automatically trigger the build. So I already said what is build. So build is nothing but converting the .java code into .class and then further compressed into the .jar. So once the developer commit the source code into the version control systems like Git or SVN, so automatically it will trigger a build. And it will convert into the .jar file. Okay, once it is converted into the .jar file, so it will deploy the code. It will deploy the code into the different environments like dev environment, SIT environment, UAT environment, pre-prod environment, and regression environment. So like this, in all the environments, the code will be deployed. So once the code is deployed, so the testing activities will start. So testing activities like so there in the SIT environment, system integration test, what they will do, like they will check each and every part, each and every module. So module wise testing it will happen. And once the system integration test pass, then what they will do, so they will go for the UAT testing, that is user acceptance testing. In the user acceptance test, like for example, the password should be, it's a combination of alphanumeric, and the password length should be 9 digits, and whether it is taking all the alphabets, all the numerics. So those things actually user acceptance test. So sometimes we can see, right, in the in some web applications or even in standalone applications. So the password should be alphanumeric, and it should not contain any special characters. So those things actually. So those things will check under user acceptance test. Regression test means I forgot to tell. It's a regression means it's a end-to-end testing. So here everything, all the module wise, everything it will test. So it is also called end-to-end test. End-to-end test. Okay, so all modules, like each and every module they will cover, and everything they will cover. So before we move to the pre-production, and this regression test will happen. Okay, so once they create the package, so they need to deploy the code into multiple environments. Then testing activities will start. Okay, once the testing is it's like testing will be passed phase by phase. Like SIT, if the SIT phase is complete, then they will move the code from SIT to UAT. That we need to do actually as a DevOps engineer. We need to copy that jar file from one environment to the other environment. So from like dev to SIT to UAT, UAT to pre-production to regression to production. So as a DevOps engineer, we need to perform all the deployments and all. Okay. So for this, so we need to enable the version control system. We need to enable a version control system. Okay, as we discussed the version control systems, like what are all the different kinds of version control systems. So here we have SVN is there, and SVN is there, and we have Git is there, and then we have Perforce is there. Okay, and then Mercurial is there. Then TFS is there, Team Foundation Server. TFS is nothing but Team Foundation Server. Then yeah, I think so. These are the different kinds of version control systems which are there in the market. But SVN is, it's mostly like most of the organizations are now migrating from SVN to Git, because SVN is outdated. So now very few companies, very few projects are under SVN. Git is now, it's most of the projects, I can say like 90% of the projects are using Git. Perforce is also, it's mostly now no one is using Perforce. Mercurial, so this is also outdated. But again, TFS is using by like 50% of the projects, because TFS, it's a Microsoft, it's integrated with all the .NET. It's a complete suite actually, Team Foundation Server. So this it's developed by the Windows. Like most of the .NET projects will use this TFS as a version control system, and the TFS as a build system, TFS as a CI/CD system. So complete suite it will have. Okay, so now we will jump into the version control system. So after this build tools. Okay, in the build tool session, we have both Ant and Maven. Ant, comma, Maven is there, so, and also Gradle. Gradle is one more build tool. So this is also, so this again, it's a Ant. Now most of the companies are migrated from Ant to Maven as a build tool. So Gradle is now again further like some companies are using Maven, and some projects are using Gradle. So that's depends upon the project requirement we need to work. So here we will cover Maven as a build tool. So CI/CD tools, under CI/CD, so now Jenkins is the most popular tool, and TeamCity is also there. It is also one more, TeamCity. Then Bamboo. Bamboo is one more CI/CD tool. Then Travis CI. Travis CI. Then Travis CI. Many are there, but these are the most popular, widely used tools. So Jenkins, is an open source tool. We will discuss about the Jenkins, about the CI/CD tools in the CI/CD tool. TeamCity, it's a licensed tool. It's not open source, so we need to pay for each and every build. So that is the reason most of the projects are using Jenkins, or from TeamCity to Jenkins they are migrating. Bamboo, it's again it's a licensed tool. Travis CI is also a licensed tool, and then Circle CI is one more is there. Circle CI. So this is also one more build tool. But all these are licensed. But the most widely used tool and open source tool is the Jenkins, is for CI/CD tools. Then for container management, we have the Docker is there, and then we have Kubernetes. Docker, Docker Swarm is also there, and then Kubernetes is there. Okay, so anyhow, here we will cover both Docker and Docker Swarm. So Docker is, it's for container management tool. So we will discuss about the container, what is container, what is image, and what is container. Okay, so those things we will discuss. Docker Swarm, it's for multi-container orchestration. For example, so if you want to have one container for application and one container for DB database, so we need to go for multi-container orchestration. So Docker Swarm is also technology which is used for the multi-container. Kubernetes, same again, like Docker Swarm, Kubernetes is also, it's a multi-container orchestration. So there we will there we will spin up all the pods, and one for DB and another for application. So all these things we will discuss in the Kubernetes tool. For infrastructure automation, as we said, like Ansible, okay, then Chef, Puppet. So these are the most widely used tool. One more is there, Salt Stack. So why I am mentioning all these tools? Because at least you need to know like how many tools are under how many tools are under DevOps process. Because there are n number of tools are there, but so whatever the tools I mentioned, so these are the most widely used tools. So at least we need to know, even if you learned Ansible, but we need to know what Chef is, what Puppet is, and how Salt Stack works. So all these things we need to know. Okay, so here in infrastructure automation, we will discuss about the Ansible. Ansible, as we said, here by using Ansible, we write the playbook, and after we write the playbook, we will automate the infrastructure, complete infrastructure we will automate. So those things, it works with the push-based mechanism. So in playbook, we write some of the steps, some of the sections, and some of the logic we write inside the playbook, and once we execute that playbook, all the infrastructure will be created. So it works with the push-based mechanism. So whereas Chef and Puppet, these both they works with the pull-based mechanism. So we will discuss what is push-based mechanism and what is pull-based mechanism. But fortunately, all these are the open source tool. No need to pay anything for this for enabling these tools inside our project. Okay, and then under AWS. So I don't know, like we will cover AWS here or not, but we will cover some of the services which we use under AWS. So under AWS we have EC2 is there, and we have S3 is there, okay, and we have CloudWatch is there. These are the services. We have CloudWatch, and then we have IAM, so Identity Access Management, okay, and then we have Route 53, so which is domain naming service. Okay, and then we have cloud formation template. So this is one more important service under AWS. Okay, so we will discuss all these things when we are discussing about the AWS. Like EC2, it is for infrastructure creation, and S3 is for storage, simple storage service. S3 stands for simple storage service. And then CloudWatch. CloudWatch is for cloud monitoring actually. So like application monitoring, not cloud monitoring, application monitoring. As we said here, Nagios, right, in the monitoring tools. So in the monitoring tools, it is on-premises we will discuss, but so when we are talking about the cloud, we will discuss about the CloudWatch. IAM stands for Identity Access Management. So here we will cover like all the users and all the groups, like which user needs which permission and which group needs which permission. All these things we will discuss in IAM service. And then Route 53. Route 53, it's a domain naming service. I think you already aware of GoDaddy. GoDaddy, like there we will see URLs and domain naming for different applications. So all these things it will cover under Route 53 service. Then cloud formation template. So cloud formation template, it's a very powerful service, and very most of the interviews they will ask about this cloud formation template, because it's a automation. So by using cloud formation template, we can write a JSON file, and we can write AML script. Okay, so those things we can write, and we can automate the infrastructure of EC2. So for example, does anyone know AWS here? Anyone aware of AWS or any other cloud technology here? So if anyone knows, you can tell, like, otherwise no problem. Okay, I hope no one knows about the AWS or any cloud technology. No problem. So this AWS is a cloud technology. So under AWS we have the EC2. EC2 is the service which we use under AWS. So by using cloud formation template, we will create n number of EC2 instances. generally, for example, for creating the EC2 instance and EC2 instance in a complex project, it will take around 1 hour for creating the EC2 instance. But if we write the cloud formation template, so we can create these EC2 instances on the fly. Like for example, if you want to create 100 EC2 instances, and if you write one cloud formation template and if you execute that template, then it will create n number of EC2 instances without any error, without any technical, without any any network errors or any configuration errors. We can say any configuration errors, it will create the EC2 instances. So there are many more services are there under AWS, but we will discuss whatever the services are related to DevOps. Those services only we will discuss. We no need to discuss all services under AWS. Only I think EC2, S3, CloudWatch, IAM, Route 53, Cloud Formation, and one more is there, Cloud Formation template. Then one more service I can say, it's Elastic Load Balancing. ELB is there, so that is also one more service we need to discuss. And sometimes we also require VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. So this service also required to discuss. Okay, it's all about AWS. And then the monitoring tools, as I said, like the monitoring from on-premises. So here we are discussing about the AWS, but still some of the projects are on-premises. On-premises means the servers are located in our company itself or in our location itself. So before cloud, most of the projects are following on-premises servers. So for monitoring the on-premises servers, we have the Nagios is there. We will discuss about the Nagios. And then we have App Dynamics. One more tool is there, that is App Dynamics. Okay, but here we will not cover this App Dynamics, but at least we will cover the Nagios part here. Again, it's a Nagios is we can say it's a application monitoring tool. Like once the deployment happens, like how the application is running, whether it is the status of that particular application is up and running or it's in down status. Okay, and the CPU monitoring, the CPU of that particular application is it's already reached to the threshold frequency or not. All these statistics it will display. So this Nagios tool will be displayed. So this is also very important tool. And then as I said, like we also need to have the scripting knowledge. We can say scripting. Okay, I said it's a knowledge, not a required. We need to be excellent in the scripting, but at least we need to know what the scripting. So here mostly most of the projects we use shell script, okay, and Groovy script. So that is also one more script. Then ML script is there. Finally Python is there. Okay, so we need to learn at least we need to have master, not master. I can say it's a knowledge. We need to have a good knowledge either in shell or in Groovy, or in ML or in Python. So shell mostly we write in the Linux environment. Okay, and Groovy is used for writing Jenkins file. So like for CI/CD, as I mentioned, it's a CI/CD I mentioned here. So if you see the CI/CD, where it is, okay, CI/CD tools. So CI/CD means it's continuous integration and continuous delivery. For enabling this CI/CD, we need to write a Groovy script. So that Groovy script we write under Jenkins file. So this it looks like a XML script, like it looks like a XML script, but it's a different scripting language. And then ML we use in Ansible. As I said, like Ansible is used for infrastructure automation. So I mentioned here, yeah. So infrastructure automation, and even Ansible is used for deployment perspective as well. So we need to write ML script. Like ML means at another markup language. So YET at another markup language. So this is also similar kind of XML scripting. So that Ansible uses the ML script. Python, as you know, it's a independent, like mostly we write Python in the JavaScript. So that is about the Python. So at least we need to learn either Shell, Groovy, AML, or Python. At least we need to have the knowledge in this scripting. Okay. Then we will discuss about databases also. Database because once we deploy the application, we also need to handle the database deployments. So we have mostly we use different types of databases as per the project requirement. So we have MySQL is there, and then after MySQL, some of the projects use MS SQL. Okay, then some use Oracle. Maybe some of the projects use Postgres. So that is also kind of DB. So Postgres DB. So these databases, as per the project requirement, they may use MySQL or they may use MS SQL or Oracle or Postgres DB. So as per the requirement they use. Okay, and also, as I said, like we need to deploy the package in different environments. So we have the SonarQube. So SonarQube is it's a code quality metric tool. SonarQube is it's a code quality metric tool. Very powerful, and it again it's a very important tool under DevOps tool. So most of the institutes they don't cover this SonarQube, but here definitely when time permits, definitely I will explain about the SonarQube, and I will show like what is the use of SonarQube in DevOps process. So we'll explain like SonarQube, as I said, like it's a code quality metric tool. So it will analyze all the source code. Like as I said, like we have the different kinds of source code is there. So those source code, like it's a Java source code or C source code or .NET source code, PHP or HTML, whatever the source code it is. If we configure the SonarQube for our source code, then it will analyze all the source code, and it will display a dashboard with bugs and sometimes with bugs and vulnerabilities. We can say vulnerabilities, security related things, security vulnerability and network vulnerability. And also it will display the duplicates inside the code if there is any duplicates, and inside the code if there is any we can say iterative loops, if any iterative loops. So all these things it will display under SonarQube dashboard. So this also we need to know, at least we need to know like what is SonarQube and all. Yes, I think this is the process, and these are the tools, the set of tools which we use under DevOps. Mostly I covered actually. So whatever the tools I worked on so far, and whatever the tools mostly the projects use, so I covered everything. Okay, so let's move to, I think I think it's already close to 8:30. Okay, so we will discuss about tool by tool tomorrow. We will start with not tomorrow. So tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, I will not take the session every time because Saturday and Sunday it's a week off for us. So we may plan different things on weekends. So definitely from Monday onwards. So we already now we discussed about these two things actually. Now agile, what is agile methodology we discussed, and introduction to the DevOps also we discussed. Okay, so next the next topic we will discuss is okay, mostly we can we no need to already I covered what is